Yes, you are looking at a new washer and dryer in my garage. No, nothing happened to the Maytags. They will end up in a new area, a new location to be determined. They're still mine. I'm never going to sell them. And I'll let you know more as soon as I know more. This is going to be a review of this Speed Queen washer and dryer. This is the FF7 washer and its matching dryer. But I wanted to go ahead and give a little bit of a benchmark, roadmap, how this is going to go. I'm going to take a look at the Speed Queens inside, outside, compare those to my Maytags that I have reviewed in other videos, and we'll look under the covers of the Speed Queens, and from there we'll run a load and we will conclude the video at that point. It's likely going to be over an hour long. The wash cycle will probably be about 40 minutes. You can skip through it and see when it ends, and that'll be the end of the video. And then from there in the description I will link to other videos of me doing different kinds of loads of laundry. I paid a lot of money for these. I gotta make some videos, and I do hope that you'll like and subscribe to this video. We gotta keep these people with their faces as their thumbnails for their videos off the top of the search results, because their faces don't need to be in these videos because they're about washers and dryers, not someone's vanity. Just my opinion. Anyway, appreciate it. Any questions, any comments, please leave them. I try to answer the majority of what I receive. I think I do a pretty good job. I'd love to hear from you. I would love to work with people. These were not paid for. I bought these myself. They were expensive, and I'm sure that'll be covered in the next video. But I'm recording this last and then coming back and putting it in the front. So I look forward to hearing from you. Anything I can do better, obviously. If it's constructive, I want to hear it. No, I will not disable the latch on these. The dryer doesn't lock, of course, but there's just no way to disable the lock on the front loader. In terms of choosing between this set and the Maytag, can't do it for you. I'll get into that more in the next video, but the realization that I made after watching the clips that I put together is that I never really gave a conclusion. The Maytag is a great set, as is this Speed Queen. It's really going to be about your preference and how much you're willing to spend. If your budget's capped out at about $2 grand, I think the Maytag is probably the best choice, even versus the TC5, given the fact that Speed Queen, the cleaning, the turnover doesn't seem to be quite as good, and I've mentioned this in the other videos. So that's why I bought this set and not the TC5, is because I think the Maytag and the TC5 are pretty comparable. I will try at some point to go ahead and make a better comparison. I did the long-term review on the Maytag, and I will try to do the same for this set as well. But for now, I can't make the choice for you. All I can do is provide you the most information I can, and I hope I've done that. And then finally, forgot to mention, I will mention in the next video, when we really get into the review, that I'm calling service. I've done that. They came out. Nothing is wrong with the washer and dryer. It was my error. I had not properly leveled them. Thought I had, but I had not. So they came out, checked everything out. Everything is fine. I watched the Kurt Rivas video on a similar set. His do the same thing mine do, so I'm confident that the machines are fine. One thing I did realize and can conclude is that the service, at least in my area, was very fast. I called them on Friday. They were willing to come out the same day, but I didn't want them to, given the fact that my garage was over 100 degrees that day. I think it was 110 here. So they came out this morning, checked it all out. The repairman and I had a good laugh, sat around and had a few beers, and we watched a load of laundry and had a great time. Put on some lights in here, a little disco ball. No, we didn't do any of that, but the guy was nice, and he came out and he said this is a nice set. and gave me some confidence, told me I was that it was now leveled correctly, and helped me set it all up, and we're happy. I'm good. He told me to space out the washer and dryer a little more, so I've done that, just so that if there is any movement that they don't bang together. So that was nice and helpful. Will keep me from being upset when I move these someday and find scuffs on the side. So here we are, on to the review. I promise no more interruptions. We are here in my very warm garage today to take a look at my most unnecessary purchase of 2021, and that is the Speed Queen FF7 with its matching dryer. As you may know, from seeing videos on my channel, I already have the Maytag commercial series washer and dryer that work fine. I've had no problems with them, but I'm going to be at some point putting them in a second home, but wanted to go ahead and get another set ordered because there's been quite a bit of a wait time on some of these different sets due to some of the supply issues relating to the pandemic. So this set, they're both about the same size, the Maytag and the Speed Queen. This is obviously a front loader, and the Maytag is a top loading machine. But 3.5 cubic feet. Both have stainless steel drums. This one has 9 wash cycles versus 7 for the Maytag. There are This is a pretty efficient washer, but for whatever reason, it does not seem like they went for the Energy Star certification, maybe because people tend to equate Energy Star with poor performance, but the Energy Guide states that really this is quite an efficient machine. This has 4 settings in terms of temperature. There are 4 spin speeds. One thing I do want to mention right off the bat is that this washer does not include fill hoses. The Maytag does include fill hoses. So you want to be sure that if you purchase these Speed Queen sets, whichever one you choose, if you get stainless steel or white, that you order your own fill hoses. In my opinion, they should be included. But you know, if it's a matter of cutting hoses versus cheapening up some part to hit a price point, I'd certainly prefer it, even though it's not exactly convenient. I reused my previous hoses, so it wasn't a huge deal, but you know, if you've got an older set than me, you definitely want to go ahead and replace those hoses. It's not too huge of a deal because, contrary to popular belief, you don't actually have to tighten these hoses down with a wrench. You just hand tighten them and they're not going to leak, as long as you get them decently tight, like you would a garden hose or something like that. This set was total around $3,300. The Maytag set was, when I bought them, less than, I think, $1,700. Now those would cost you 2 or 3 years later, probably about $2,000. So you know, you're paying at least $1,000 to $1,500 more for this set, and you're never going to find them on sale unless Speed Queen themselves does a sale. But there's not going to be any sales from whatever retailer you get, because Speed Queen doesn't allow them to do so. So far, ran some loads through here. I've got one issue, and I'm going to call Speed Queen on this to find out what's going on. But I had went through the whole process of just balancing this machine out, and I had it perfect. And I went ahead and I did a pretty large load of towels. I didn't stuff anything in there, but I just put the towels in until there was no more room, just loosely filled. So probably that was six to 8 towels, perhaps. And when I ran the washer, it worked fine, but I could hear the bolts in the back. You could hear them rubbing against the back panel. So that can't be normal. And so what I did is I went ahead and actually took the washer out of balance, tilted it forward, and then that issue kind of resolved itself. So it may be an issue just of they didn't add a large enough bubble in that back panel to go ahead and account for the movement of the drum. or there could be something else there, but I may not have leveled it right. But that brings me to my other issue. There are no paper, there's no paper instructions or paper user guide that is included with this. All there is a quick start guide that just shows you the basics of how to set it up. Very basic, like a little pamphlet. And that was very annoying because the last thing somebody wants to do when they're setting up a washer and dryer is to have to go in and out of the house in order to pull it up on the computer and figure out what the heck they're doing. So, you know, I get it. This is a professional set. People getting this don't need 50 different copies of the manual, but for these sets that are clearly going to go to mostly residences or small facilities where they need a professional machine but don't need the coin slot, a manual should be included, even if it saves them a few bucks. I mean, I'd rather pay $10 more than to have to go and enter my information online and all that just so that I can have a manual sent to me. I will give Speed Queen credit. They state right in the manual, right in the quick start guide, that the manuals in the paper literature will be free, but you do have to request it. So more and more companies are kind of going towards this model. I don't like it. The phones are not great for reading instructions on because the screens go out and the screen locks and you have to unlock your phone. Your hands are dirty because you were tightening hoses and moving washers and dryers, and it's not good. So I won't give them too much grief on that, but it's something that should not be. Other than that, I like this set. Seems to work well. I haven't noticed any difference in terms of cleaning between the Maytag and this set. It's going to be hard for me to tell, at least for a while, because I don't necessarily get my clothes super dirty. But there, I'm sure, will be an opportunity for me to sort of do a more in-depth performance comparison. In terms of fit and finish, the Speed Queen set is in another league. You look at this stuff and you can say definitely this will probably be around in 25 years. It's very overbuilt. The washer itself weighs 270 pounds. The dryer is more along the same weight of a normal dryer, but it's almost 150. So the dryer weighs basically what the Maytag washer weighs, and the washer is almost to weighing as much as a safe does. This has a painted cabinet. It's not enameled, but what's different than this in this cabinet compared to the Maytag is it seems to be a thicker gauge, at least around the sides, and they use a 3-coat paint. I don't know what that means. I couldn't really find more information on it, but it seems to be, you know, very high quality. There were no scratches on it. These aren't necessarily packed that wonderfully. So to pull it off and know that it had cardboard and stuff rubbing on it and it got jostled around in the truck and that sort of thing, and not finding any scratches really, that's definitely a good sign. I saw no real paint wear, no panel gap or fitment issues. Even the inside of the cabinet's finished, so that's a good sign as well. The Maytag advertises that the cabinet is galvanized steel and then painted. I'd imagine that this cabinet is as well. It's got to be coated with something, but I couldn't find any kind of concrete evidence of if it's galvanized steel like the Maytag or not. So what I'll do is, we're already 8 minutes in here, so I will get us off the tripod. We'll take a closer look. We'll look inside the Speed Queen washer, then we'll look inside the Maytag. We'll go back to the Speed Queen dryer, and then the same for the Maytag. And we'll just kind of compare and take a look. Before we go inside the unit and open the door and all that, I wanted to show you the controls. So you hit the power button here. You get this cool little startup action, and then you have all blue LEDs. Your preset cycles are up here, and then based on what you choose, the selections down here will change. So the user guide, or the user guide. If you get the print version, it will give you all of the advanced specs on the different cycles, and then you can set your own favorites. There's a sanitized cycle that's supposed to kill 99.9% of germs, whatever that means, and then you can control your spin speed. There's a soil level. You can set a signal for when it finishes. You can delay your start, extra rinse, allergy rinse, and pre-wash and soak. Now, since this is a front loader, I'm not too sure what the soak is going to be like, given this thing can't really fill up with water. But I'll have to give it a shot and try it out and see how it is. The buttons they're decently responsive. I imagine they set this up more for reliability than for touch and feel, but you kind of got to push on them firmly. And this panel is like, it's solid, but it's not like a glass panel that you might find on some of the LG appliances. But you know, unlike the LG, this stuff won't fail in 5 years. So here we go, and that comes from an LG appliance owner, since Speed Queen doesn't make refrigerators. So now we'll go ahead and we'll take a look at the interior of the unit and go from there. All right, I've done my best to go ahead and light up the inside of the tub. Stainless steel, and then it's got these agitators, I guess, or fins, and they're like molded plastic. And then the noise you're hearing is beads that help keep the load balanced, which is pretty cool. So this washer will kind of adjust based on the load and limit the speed if you've really got an out of balance load. So if you pull clothes out of this machine that are still wet beyond what they should be, the reason being is that the spin speed was limited due to the load being out of balance. So unlike a top loader that will just shake around and go crazy, this unit won't do that. There you go. That's how that looks. Now we'll go up here. This is where the soap and bleach and all of your pre-wash and everything goes. Softener will go here, pre-wash here, liquid bleach here, and your detergent will be going there. This is kind of a lightweight plastic. It's solid enough. But what I did notice is that a lot of the noise that you hear from this machine when it's running comes from here. And I think part of the reason is that this is also a vent. So if you cover it, the sound it is greatly diminished, but it probably has to be there in order for there to be proper airflow. The door, this is glass here. Door frame is plastic, but the frame itself is metal. Very nice, very clear. I did wash this before I ran the first load. So we'll get into this later when I do put a load of t-shirts in here. Now let's go ahead and we'll back out here. We'll take a look at the dryer. Same kind of settings as the washer, same panel, different settings obviously because it's a dryer. It does auto sensing. What's neat about it is you can turn the signal off and on, the anti-wrinkle off and on, which is very nice if you don't want to hear the buzz. My Maytag, I haven't figured out how to disable the buzzer, so it just buzzes every time and will keep buzzing until you go out there and shut it off, or it takes several hours for it to finish its anti-wrinkle cycle that keeps your clothes just tossed every few minutes. So you've got temperature, dryness, and then just based on the settings you choose, it'll give you different settings. And of course you can customize these. And these are auto sensing, this top line here, and then these bottom ones are manual. All right, and then here, this is kind of interesting. So it's very nice, right? But this is kind of strange. So on my Maytag and just every single other washer I've ever seen, the interior is like enamel. It's like painted or powder coated, I guess. So this unit has galvanized steel drum. I'm not too sure what is more expensive to produce or what's better quality, but just a difference, and it's beautifully finished, but it's just different, and wasn't quite what I expected when I ordered this. But I mean, you can just see this, look at it, even everything is just so, neat and tidy, and the quality of the stamping of the parts is excellent. So I'm happy with it, but it's just sort of a little bit of a different dryer than what I'm used to. Your lint lives down here, which is pretty neat. And actually, here's a little bit of a flaw here. Not a huge deal, but it's the mold went a little bit wacky there. So your lint collects in here, and then you just kind of go in here and scoop it out. So really it gives you no opportunity to have lint escape through the machine if you, for whatever reason, instead of having that slide insert. So pretty neat. Very, very, very heavy build quality. Nothing flexes, nothing moves. These are all nice and heavy plastic fins. Seal. The door is certainly a bit thicker gauge than a normal dryer. Even though it looks like the same construction, it's not. It's just very, very, very well built. So there you go. You can just kind of can't really tell too much here, but it has a LED light in it, which is neat because it really lights this thing up. It's like a very even. Very, very bright light. So I was happy to see that. It's just one area there that's lit, but it's just however they engineered it, they did a nice job. So we'll go ahead and close this. Essentially, this is in terms of performance, it's exactly the same as the Maytag in terms of heat and fan output and all those things. So I really can't discern a difference, but if you're going to buy, this washer, then you obviously want a matching dryer. But there definitely they seem to be making the money on the dryer because it's a dryer. There's just not that many parts to it, and it ends up being more expensive. I'm sure there's a better explanation than that in terms of how these companies are financed and how they work, but to me it's very confusing how the washer with clearly more parts and more things that require labor is less expensive than a dryer that the formula is pretty much settled. So I think now we can go ahead and just take a little bit of a scan here, and you can see the paint, and it's closer to painted like a car than what you'd expect out of a washing machine. You kind of can pick up, in the plastic parts, you can sort of barely discern a difference in color, but it's very faint. So this trim piece here on both of these, it's plastic, which isn't a huge deal, but just like the door trim, this is plastic, so probably just for ease of placement and removal if there is ever service that's needed. And then here's the energy guide at the top of the units. You can get pedestals for these if you want them a little higher. I don't think I have enough room to go ahead and do that. Yearly energy cost is basically nil. So now I think I will take the bottom panels off, and we will take a look at the guts, and then I can show you sort of how well built these are. Before I got underneath the covers on the Speed Queens, I wanted to revisit the Maytags just to show the comparison of the interiors of these units. My reviews are already pretty extensive, so if you want to see those, I'll put the link in the description. But here's the interior, stainless steel drum as well, but the agitator and all of the pieces in the bottom are plastic. No issues for me so far on these. They will be going back into use shortly, but you know, here we are. Everything looks pretty clean, you know, several years in now, and I'm happy with this set. Now we'll everything's held up, no rust, just a little dirt. Now we'll take a look at the dryer. And here is the interior of the dryer. As I mentioned, this is powder coated and not galvanized like the Speed Queen is. A few years in now, so a little bit of discoloration in the vent, and then what seems like the start of some discoloration of the powder coat here. I don't know if these are scratches, but it feels a little rough. It's not rust, but it's just kind of discolorated, and I guess it's just from zippers and things hitting that little edge there. For years, it's a little sharper than the rest of the inside of the unit, so maybe that's enough to create some wear there, but nothing that's gonna adversely affect performance or cause any issues. Sorry for my shadow. Here's the more old school lint trap, which this design does allow lint to sometimes get past it. So if you look inside here, you'll see some lint that's accumulated. Nothing that's a fire hazard or anything like that, but if you look down in there, it's there's definitely a little bit of lint. Moves freely, smooth, which is nice. Doors held up. Seals look good. The Lowe's version with the glass panel door, I've heard that there were some issues with some of the seals on those, but the solid door doesn't have those issues. All right, and I'll get out of the way here, and now we'll go ahead and take a look under the covers and then run a load of laundry through the Speed Queens. You can hear them in the background right now actually running. This will be another load. And then finish this thing up. Thanks. Both front covers are now off. As you can see, these required a 3/16 nut, or you could have removed them with a screwdriver. I advise using your ratchet so that you don't strip the screws out. Plus, it's just a lot easier than scratching the paint. The control panel is under that cover, protected from moisture. I see a lovely aluminum heat sink poking out there for a good cooling, which is what I like to see. Nice tidy wiring, gigantic shocks, and then this very large cast iron balancer, I'd imagine, I guess, or cross piece. The other shock over here, you can see the metal shocks, and then the I guess it's like a strut of some kind. This is the clean out in case you get any junk in your trunk, or in this case your pump, junk in your pump. And then it's pretty much tied together, like to the point of looking like you're underneath the hood of a car. Other than so everything's really clean, very, very high quality. You can tell there's definitely some pride of work here by the Speed Queen employees. Everything is just very clean, very, very overbuilt. Even the, you know, to see the come under here and see the frame is finished this quality, this is like better than the drawers on my Snap-on toolbox, which I don't know if says a lot about Speed Queen or says more about how the quality of Snap-on has fallen. I don't know, I'll let you decide. So we'll try to get a little better view under there. And if Speed Queen, you're watching this, I hope you forgive me for taking this cover off, but I figured it was okay since I had to remove it to remove these shipping bolts. I inserted these two, but left these out because I didn't know if they'd interfere with the cover or anything like that. So those are in a bag somewhere in case I ever need to move this. There'd be like a metal strap that would reach across and keeps basically the tub from moving in transit. There's 2 bolts in the rear that have to be removed as well, but they're a little smaller. And you don't have to remove the cover to get to them. Okay, so here we are. Now we're under the dryer, and now we can start to see some electronics. Definitely not your cheap Chinese parts on this board. Very nice, high quality stuff. Some film caps, or I guess ceramic capacitors. Your standard electrolytics. 450 volt rating on that. Should be enough. Really nice heavy connectors. Definitely better than what you'd find under the hood of your Ford out in the driveway. Nice wiring, all runs together here underneath. And that's part of the blower motor, but most of this is obscured behind this. So not much to see other than, you know, some nice wiring. Okay, now, so this will conclude this part of the video. Now we're gonna go to the cycle, or the load of laundry I'm going to run. It's gonna be t-shirts. It's going to be awesome. I picked some great assortment of t-shirts here to wash for your viewing pleasure. I'm going to leave off the bottom covers, so don't let the video be an indicator of how much noise these units make. For those of you still here, you've made it. We are now going to run a full wash cycle. I've left the front covers off, as I mentioned in the previous clip. I'm going to leave them off, so don't let this be indicative of how much noise the washer makes. It shouldn't be anyway, given the fact that the microphone on the cell phone that I'm using to record this video is not, it's not going to be, it's not really a realistic representation of how it's going to sound. So this is a heavy duty cycle. Temperature's warm, spin speed is going to be high, which is why I'm running the heavy duties. I want you to see the full 1200 RPM. I want you to feel it, hear it, and just get a very, very good idea of what it's going to be like. This thing spins up like a turbine. It sounds like a jet engine at full tilt, and it's very satisfying for all of those ASMR folks out there who watch my videos. I appreciate you. Let me know what you want to see next. I've tried to keep the t-shirts nice blues, relaxing colors for those of you that might turn this on later and fall asleep watching it. You know, sometimes I watch a washer video or two before bed. Usually gets me nice and tired. Great relaxation. So normal eco cycle would have been probably what I would have used, but it uses less water. So with less water, there's less visuals. We want visuals for this. So just enjoy the video. I hope you like it. And this is going to be 44 minutes. And at the conclusion of this video, I will cut it off and we will pick up later on with other cycles and updates as I get comments. Once again, please like and subscribe to my channel. I don't make any money off of this, as I've mentioned before. But I do want these videos to appear higher in searches. I don't want the person that, you know, is a blogger that reviews all kinds of weird stuff to be, you know, with their face in the thumbnail to be the first result somebody sees. I want people that actually care about, you know, clean clothes and getting the best product to be featured. There's a few of us out here that care about that aren't about the normal narcissism present on social media. So anyway, without further interruption, I'm going to stop talking and get this thing going. When it spins, it's likely going to seem off balance, and that's normal. And then basically what happens is the beads that are inside the drum kind of balance out. I don't know if they're like in an oil bath or what happens, but it takes some time for them to even out, and then at full speed you'll see the washer should operate pretty smoothly. So here we go. I'm going to start it up, and I will come back to shut it off when it finishes. I will not be talking at the end, so you can kind of speed this up. I'm not going to talk through the cycle at all either. I'll actually be in the other room. So if you want to go ahead and speed up the video, you can do that through the little gear icon. You can watch it at 1.25, you can watch it at 2 times, whatever you really want. It's there for you. And here we go. Sorry about that. The phone overheated. Garage is hot. And it was in a case. So I removed the case and we're back at it. We lost about 3 minutes. It just did a spin and now it's back to what it was doing before the spin, which is washing my clothes. So I'm gonna get a fan and run it in here, keep the phone cool. And we've got 21 minutes left. shaking is because I don't have the front cover on. It's missing some rigidity, so it won't do that for you.